Hey folks, JD here, and today I thought, as we are looking a lot at the MJX GPS app, I thought we'd look at it in a bit more detail. So today, this is the MJX app. Now, I realise my main reason for doing this, let's talk about that first, is quite simply because I've been using this app quite a lot recently over the last couple of weeks, and it occurred to me that maybe not all of you may know what each of the buttons does. So I thought I would just go through it and just show you exactly what they do, so that when you see it in the future, you know exactly what each of the buttons does and where you can see the distance and the height and everything else. So when you first launch the app, you go directly into a quadcopter chooser. Pick your quad. So you've got a choice of two quads with this, as of this time of recording this particular video. You've got the choice of the X104, the one we looked at a couple of weeks ago, and the X103, the one we've just looked at. If you haven't seen those videos, you'll find them both in the description of this video. So then once you open the app, you choose your quad, then you come into this, instructions for beginners, and then you click next. And then it takes you through and you can see each of the different parts of the app, and it gives you almost like a very quick overview, so that if you just want to get in and get using it, you know what each of the icons does. So once we click the click button, this is what you see. Now normally you'd have a quadcopter attached to this, and then you would see, when it says aircraft not connected in the center, it would say aircraft connected, and then it would start to accrue satellites. So let's look at the top left first. Now this is the photo button. If you click the photo button, it takes you through and you have a couple of options. You have see your stills. If you go back from that, then you see your video. You can go back from that, and then you've got your two icons on the right hand side. Now the two icons on the right hand side denote that those are your photos and those are your videos from the SD card. Even though the icons almost are exactly the same, in the bottom right hand corner of those two far right icons, you can see the two letters TF. That means that you're using your SD card for your media. So if you click the back button, then you just go back to your original starting place. Next to that, we have the VR mode or split screen. If you click that when you have your quadcopter connected, then you can see that the screen splits in two to give you that VR virtual mode, where you can then put your smartphone in a pair of virtual goggles, and then you can see you can almost fly FPV. Next to that, you have the 180 flip mode. So if, like me, you constantly, well, not constantly, but if, like me, you do put your smartphone in the FPV booms, sometimes around the wrong way, then you can use this button to flip your phone, to flip the screen 180 degrees, so that then you don't have to take the phone back out the FPV boom and struggle with all that. The eye icon next, that is your hide icon, so it hides the heads up display. To get it back, you just click on the screen and it comes back. Next one to that, the red icon, that is for your satellites. So once your aircraft is connected, you can see your satellites accruing there. Most manufacturers recommend for you to have at least a minimum of 7 satellites before you try and fly. I always try, because my area, I normally get about 16 to 18. I try and have a minimum of about between 7 and 10. That makes me feel a bit more confident about flying. Then the cog icon, the gear icon next, is your settings. So here you have a lot of parameters you can change, like your maximum minimum flight altitudes, your flight radius for your circle feature and things like that. Where this would be useful is if, like me, where I fly around trees and then I fly in a field and then I fly by a river, you can alter your max flight altitude should you for when you want to return to home or when you want to use waypoints. That way then it obviously depends on where you're flying, but then you haven't got to concern yourself with am I high enough or anything like that. Once you click return to home, or once you enable a function or a feature, then if you've enabled this first just by adding in your altitude in meters and then clicking the on or off button slider, then you can the quadcopter should take care of the rest. Obviously due care and attention is needed when you are running this anyway, just in case for some reason the digits don't relay back to the quad and the quad decides to just come back at its current altitude. Next you have detection. So once everything's connected, this is a very, very handy tool. It shows you your gyro status, barometer, compass and GPS. I have had one of them be a red X before now, my gyro status. So once I then have calibrated the gyro, then it's gone to a green tick. The next one, the next one is flight data. So these are all the bits of information about every single flight I've had using this particular app. Now, normally I say in a lot of my videos, I've had 5 flights with this quad and 6 flights with this one. Well, this shows you just exactly how many flights I've had. I've used this app with the X104 and the X103 only, and as you can see, I have flown a lot. And this is how you get to know your quadcopters, by flying them as much as possible, and this is what I do. And this flight data stays in here, and you can then see your current your coordinates, longitude and latitude, should you want to. And then you have your camera settings. So here you find if your camera is capable of recording 4K, but if your home computer is not capable of editing in that, you can then downgrade it to 2K or even 1080. This may give you a better experience when you're recording HD video using your quadcopter. You may find if your quadcopter at distance is frame skipping, then what you may want to do is you may want to downgrade that to 1080 and see if you still get that same issue. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It depends on the overall issue that you're experiencing. Then to click out of that, just click anywhere on the screen. Then the aircraft not connected, that's obviously when your aircraft is connected, it does say aircraft connected. The next one is your return to home distance, so your distance away from your transmitter. The next one to that, the almost like ruler standing up on end, that is your current height rather. Then the quadcopter icon, that shows you where your quadcopter battery is. Then the transmitter next to it is obviously your transmitter battery icon, and the smaller transmitter next to it is your transmitter signal. Very important to keep your eye on that as well, because if your transmitter signal is getting less and less, then clearly you're in trouble, or there's some interference, or you may lose connectivity with your quad. Then the next one next to that, the aerial, that is your quadcopter signal as well, so keep an eye on that. Then you have the back button, which if you click that, it takes you back to the beginning of the app. The next icon underneath there, you have 2. So you have, the first one we're going to look at is the shutter button and the video and photo icon. So if you click the video and photo icon, that will just switch between, once your quadcopter is connected, it'll switch between the photo mode and video mode. And then likewise, when you want to click to take a photo, click the grey button for photo, and then you click the red button for video, and that then denotes whether you're going to have a photo at the end of it or a video. And then underneath those 2 buttons you have waypoints. So you click that and it gives you a couple of options there. Essentially the waypoints that it gives you is for you to click a straight line, so you have a filled in line, or you have a dotted line that you can use, and that way then the quadcopter, once you create a pattern, the quadcopter and upload it, the quadcopter will then fly and follow that. And it's pretty good. I like it. I like using it. It's pretty nice. Keep your due care and attention on that. Do not let go of the transmitter, because if the quadcopter comes into any difficulty, like you saw with my video last week, you're going to have to escape out of it and quickly make some changes to ensure your quadcopter is nice and safe. Next, we come down to the bottom left. That is a map. So you can click on that and the map will zoom in. You need that for when you come to fly waypoints. Then above the map you have follow me. Then above follow me you have circle mode, so the quadcopter or point of interest, whatever you prefer to call it. That is where the quadcopter will circle around you, or around whatever, or around an interesting point to you. And then you have return to home above that, and then you have, I think that's 360 flips. I think I've never used it at all, and I don't think I ever will, to be honest. That's not really something that I'm interested in, so I will never use that, other than maybe in a flight test now and again. So that is just a brief overview of the application, so you know what each of the buttons does and what each of the different fields denotes within that particular application. Now let's see the app being used real time. Make sure to just keep your eye on the distance and height, and you can see everything working and moving. It's actually, I'm pretty sad, but I love a load of telemetry and information about height and distance. I find it really fascinating, and flight logs, I love reading them afterwards, and actually downloading telemetry from quadcopters, that you can do that too, and actually going over it and overlaying it onto maps. I find all that brilliant. So the next bit is just for you to see this actually actually working in a real world scenario. So I'm going to leave that there, folks. I hope you enjoy the next bit. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification button too, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers, folks. Thanks very much, and happy flying.